For a discussion on how to leverage your first-party data, please welcome Rebecca Traverso from Third Love, Shreya Garur from Nutrisystem, James DiStefano from Casper, and Aaron Magnus from Thistle. Moderated by Cognitive's Jeremy Fain.
Welcome, everybody. We have a great panel today, especially because of the backdrop of the iOS updates, the upcoming cookie apocalypse, and all these types of things. We, I think, have a pretty timely discussion on first-party data, how to use it, what's going on in the marketplace, and we have a great cross section of different companies that are dealing with these things in different ways. So what I want to do is have everyone introduce themselves really quickly. I'm Jeremy Fain, CEO, co-founder of Cognitive. We're a deep learning custom algorithm company. We help marketers reach their KPIs using this automated new AI capability. So that's what we do. We're really happy to be hosting here. Thanks to the MMA and Greg and everybody over there. So why don't we start? I have Aaron right below me, so why don't we go to Aaron?
Sure. Hi, I'm Aaron Magnus. I head up marketing efforts at Thistle. We're in the food delivery space, where our goal is to help everyone get and stay healthy while improving the sustainability of the food ecosystem. I'm really excited to be here.
James?
Hi, everyone. I'm James DiStefano. I lead CRM and commercial marketing at Casper. I've been at Casper for about close to 3 years now and in the digital marketing space for close to 15. Excited to be here.
Shreya?
Hey everyone, my name is Shreya Garur. I work for Nutrisystem as the Director of Analytics. So I manage all things digital marketing and web analytics. So Nutrisystem has helped millions of people lose weight with the perfectly balanced meals delivered to the door. I'm excited to be here.
And Rebecca.
Hey, everybody. I'm Rebecca Traverso. I'm the VP of Marketing at Third Love, which is a leading women's intimates brand that was founded in 2013 by women for women. I lead up all marketing functions, as well as brand communications, data science, and analytics.
Great. So, I thought a quick icebreaker would be, we are all virtual. But things are starting to reopen, and I was wondering if anyone wanted to share a little bit of a reopening experience that gave you a little bit of hope and happiness, and then we'll get into the questions. Maybe James can start.
Yeah, so I've been out in California. I was just telling the group since September, and not to be corny here, but I haven't seen my nieces, and so when I went home, being able to hug them post being vaccinated was definitely a huge moment for sure.
Amazing. And maybe Shreya?
I'm in the office, if you can see. So being back in the office and being able to see my colleagues has been it's been over 14 months. I didn't step into the office in the last 14 months. So that's been great. I'm glad we are making strides and everybody's safe and we are safely bringing people back into the office. So that's been awesome.
Great. And Aaron?
Yeah, we did the first group get together with friends that have all been vaccinated, and it's okay, do we take these off? Can we take them off? Yes, no. But to the same point, James, Megan, great to have that physical contact. So it's great.
And Rebecca?
Yeah, for me, it was about my son actually going back to school. So I have a seventh grader, 12 and a half, who just literally went back to school 3 weeks ago after 13 months doing distance learning. So that was a critical moment for family as well as, professionally. Get out of the house.
Congrats.
Yeah, that's. And for me, I got a piece of all those things over the last couple months. But I just remember the first business trip I took. I got to go to LA and Seattle, and I just remember looking out the airplane window and thinking, I've forgotten what this place looks like. It's great to go somewhere different, somewhere where it's not my house and my yard and the small neighborhood of where I live. So I'm pretty excited about it all. All right, let's get started. So we have a lot of different size companies, old, venerated brands versus some very new, young brands. I'd love to hear from everyone a little bit about your first-party data strategy and really how it has grown over time, or how it's different based on the stage of your organization. I thought maybe we could start with Aaron, because Thistle is pretty young and growing very quickly.
Yeah, I'd say to your point, I think everyone is in their own space. For us and for me personally, how I've always thought about it is, you should only collect data that's going to help that customer's experience, right? So with that, and if you provide a better experience, customers are very open and willing to help you. So like we capture a lot of first party data where we're asking people about things that impact their relationship with us, their dietary habits, their fitness habits, what sort of content recipes they want or they want to learn more about. And then we take all of that and package it and then give that back to them in a way that is super helpful. So we actually capture, and since we're a subscription service, as part of the onboarding, a great deal of first party data, which gives us so much more insights versus, traditional data aggregation of cookie management. So super important for us. Now, the question is, are we taking advantage of everything yet? No. Do we have it all figured out? No. But we're asking the right questions to be in a position to be able to, help them out in the future.
And Rebecca, how's Third Love doing?
Yeah. Here at Third Love, we're sitting on over like 18 million data points from our customers who take our fitting room quiz, which is our, number one funnel and pipeline for first party data as it relates to getting her current bra problems and fit issues, her style preferences, size, shape, and product needs. So this helps us do a couple of things. One, it helps us create better fitting products, which is kind of our pride and joy. And what we hang our hat on. It allows us to expand into other product assortments and categories to include styles that she enjoys and that she's looking for. It also allows us to, again, expand into other categories of business like lounge and sleep, which we just launched a few months ago to deliver on her comfort needs throughout her day. We also have a ton of data points on her brand engagement, the channels that she's coming from and those consumption and media habits, her site experience and purchase funnel. Since we have all of our stuff pretty much in-house from a paid media effort perspective. And this allows us to create like lookalike audiences that we leverage in our channel campaigns to deliver better effectiveness of those efforts, as well as drive increased efficiencies. So we've done a lot of work this year on just leveraging those data points to kind of enhance her site experience. So we created a much more dynamic, what we call now a fitting room experience that takes kind of our Fit Finder quiz, 4.0 to really capture even more data points to deliver best in class products and a more robust brand and site experience.
James?
Yeah, I would say like similar to what Aaron and Rebecca both mentioned, definitely capturing sleep preferences and sleep problems, and whether that's through a quiz is definitely something we are actively exploring. I would say more macro, centralizing our data is a huge theme over here. So we use Simon Data as a CDP to easily activate our first party data across the media ecosystem, and then also to read incrementality at the customer level anytime we're doing A/B tests. And I would say more recently, we've been looking at what we're calling a customer hub. And so the idea is if someone, for example, calls our customer service team, we know that that customer was at our Lexington Avenue store last week looking at a Wave mattress. So we can just personalize that experience a bit more.
And Shreya.
So for us, yeah, we did just like the personalization was big. We did implement quiz, trying to understand what the customers are looking like, what their lifestyle is like. So one thing that stood out to us in the last year is because it's a weight loss program, and for weight loss, you always need a companion. It's better for your weight loss journey. So that's something we quickly figured out based on the data that we were seeing and what customers were sharing with us. So we introduced a partner plan where you could do it with like a partner, a spouse, a friend. So that's like just looking at the data, we were able to like come up with new product ideas. So that has been huge. And then also we have been, like, we're in the early stages right now, but we do have a CDP system, like bringing all the data into one place. We have a ton of data. We have a ton of app data, which like directly tells us who are these customers that are most engaged post-purchase, and what are the attributes that they're displaying, what are the kinds of information that they're sharing with us. Like, we want to leverage the app data, the app engagement data, and tie that back to website experience. So we are in the process of like leveraging customer, like we have very enhanced customer data of like how much weight are they planning to lose, what's gender, like what demographics are they from, what BMI do they fall in the scale, like based on that, and what products have they purchased in the past based on that. Is it like a more structured plan? Is it more like based on the foods that they prefer? Do they prefer more of like a frozen product? So we are able to like customize their experience. We're also like tying that to our creative development to see like how does this resonate? Like, what kind of creative should we be serving for a customer that is more looking for a higher price product versus like a more frozen product? So it's like trying to bring all this together. That's what we're like trying to work towards right now.
Yeah. So as a quick follow-up on all that, I mean, all of you are seem like personalization is a big part of data gathering capabilities. Now, this is sort of the age-old question. Do you have too much data? Can you make use of all this data? Just anyone can jump in.
Yeah, I always say that there's like two types of companies. There's companies that have like too much data or don't have enough data. Casper, I think just given our level of maturity that we're 7 years old, I would say the great thing about our data is that it's very clean. And so just being at past organizations where like you have different legacy data in different systems, I will say that is one of the advantages I see at Casper, is having that like clean, centralized data.
So does that mean though that you figured out the right size of your data capabilities, or you're able to take use it all, or at least you can store it and use it later? Like, what does that mean, having clean data?
Yeah, I think just like more so being able to access the data is really what I mean by clean data. So being able to like access it and like activate it, I think like it's one thing to be able to like look at the data for insights, right? And then I think it's another thing, like once you have those insights, to actually be able to activate against it. And having a CDP has helped with that for sure.
Yeah, I can add to that. Like, it took us like a couple of years to get the CDP in place, to like get all, because so we are in the weight loss industry for over 50 years. So our company is not new like Casper. So we have data fragmented in different silos. We have app data, at least we had app data in a different silo. We have the website data. So it took us a long time to bring all the data points into one place, but right now we're strategizing into what is the data that really matters, what kind of audiences we should be building off of the data that we have available. So that's the step we are at. Like, we haven't yet activated. We're in the process of like first strategizing, identifying the data that's relevant, and then the next step would be strategizing. But yeah, we're taking a pragmatic approach to this whole process of one step at a time.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. I think we went through a big kind of like business intelligence project last year to just get the cleanliness of our data to a place where we felt like it had enough integrity to actually be used and leveraged and democratized across the organization. I don't think you can have too much data, but you definitely need to. I know there was a big, movement probably, 3 or 4 years ago where it was all about data-driven marketing, and you kind of lost a little bit of the art to complement the science. And I think a lot of brands now and organizations have kind of taken a step back, and it's more about being data informed, but always kind of having that art and that gut instinct to really kind of drive your business forward. Because there's definitely a point where you kind of get analysis paralysis, and like, you don't know what's important. You don't know what's valuable, especially as you evolve your business. Like, we're moving from an intimates brand into more of a women's lifestyle brand. So a lot of the data that we were able to aggregate in the past around bras and underwears is not necessarily as applicable today as it was when we're looking at things like lounge and sleep. So it's always about the art and the science.
I think that's actually interesting to just piggyback on that is, data helps us inform, marketing decisions, but the best marketing tool you can have is a great product, right? So if you have a product that people love, that talk about, then that helps you really focus on building the brand. And one of the earlier panels, I'm sorry, I'm blanking. I think her name is Nylene, maybe, but she was talking about, the importance of this, exactly what you were saying, Rebecca. It's allowing us to get back to the time to really focus on the brand, and let's build a brand that people love and care about and want to talk about. I think that's super exciting. I think Steve on the same panel, suggested, let's get back to the point of, stop trying to chase people, and let's attract people who love what we do. So I think from a marketing perspective, it is kind of freeing.
So let's move to talk about sort of analysis and decisioning. You have all this data. We've talked a little bit about how it's being used, but if you have huge data science teams or using Looker or Tableau, like how do you make decisions based on all this data? Do you have in-house tools that you built, homegrown tools, et cetera? Why don't we start with Shreya, actually?
Sure, yeah. So we do have a lot of, we have made strides in our tech stack in the recent past. Previously, it was all fragmented in a data warehouse. We did not have a visualization tool. So now we have Snowflake, which is a cloud-based database. We have a CDP system in place, RepPoint, and then we have Looker for a visualization tool. And we're currently working towards bringing all our data points from different platforms into this one place, into Snowflake, so we can easily see across different platforms what does performance look like. Right now, we have to go into individual platforms if we want to see how is performance within Facebook versus Google Display Network versus Pinterest or whatever the case might be. But that's the goal. So we have all the technology in place right now, but we are working through just making the connections, bringing the right data, connect through the APIs. That's a long process. We have to work with the IT team, let them know what exactly the metrics that we're looking for. But yeah, so these are the tools that we are using right now. And then hopefully this will help us connect the dots and make it easier for us. Analysis, pulling the data itself and seeing it across different platforms is a challenge. And with each platform defining every metric differently, that poses another challenge. So we need to make sure we have a common identifier that we want to go against to compare performance across different platforms.
Yeah, I would say similarly, we also have our data centralized in a CDP, and we use Salesforce Service Cloud as our CRM. And channel expansion has been a huge area of focus for us. So what I mean by that is understanding what is the impact of an email or an email plus a display ad or an email plus a paid social ad. And in addition to using the CDP to cut audiences, we truly use it end to end in that we are going in there. And then after running that sort of test, looking at the customer level to see how much incrementality we're actually able to drive. Yeah.
Yeah, and to add to Shreya, we're also big Snowflake and Looker fans over here at Third Love. So we use Snowflake as our data warehouse. We do not have a CDP, but that potentially could be in the pipeline. We're looking at it now, some sort of not a full CDP, kind of like a pseudo CDP that we could do customer planning with. And then our visualization tool is Looker as well. But we have a really strong data science and analytics team in-house that has created some models that are really valuable to us, like a propensity model based on our current customer data that we push out into platforms like Facebook and Google in order to get more highly intentful audiences and segments to the site. And then we also have an MMM tool, that model that we've built as well, that isn't as sophisticated, that we're working on right now to make it much more of a real-time MTA pseudo MMM tool that can be much more valuable in understanding both the value and halo effect of traditional channels to non-traditional channels and vice versa.
For us, our goal is to grow into it, to be as advanced as all of you are. I think from us, a big part of this last year has really been focused, as we've been growing so quickly. Do we have the right? It's been a lot of data engineering. So do we have the right plumbing? Are the systems talking to each other? So there's been all that back end work from the even young companies have legacy challenges, right? So it's like making sure we have the right place to jump off for better understanding. The beauty of our business is we have a very loyal customer. So with that, we have a lot of information that we can work from, but then putting that in a way that's easily grabbable and digestible is really where a lot of the work is right now.
All right. So the last topic I want to touch on is a big one, and I'm going to ask a multi-part question that I try to keep your answers short because we only have 5 minutes left. So we have the apocalypse of apps. We have apocalypse of cookies. We've got customer acquisition costs have been growing before all of this happened. So one, have you seen an effect on your marketing in any way from iOS update? Two, do you have a plan for the cookie apocalypse, like an ID solution or something like that? And three, how do you see this affecting your customer acquisition costs? All within one answer. Okay. How about we start with Aaron?
Yeah. So we've got it all figured out. No, like I think that the main point is it's still super early to figure out where is it actually going. I think if we all as marketers and people at brands go back to the very baseline of, do we have a product that people love and they want to talk about? Okay, so if you have that, you've got an opportunity to build into the growth of everything else you're talking about. I'd say for us, all these changes are happening very quickly. Some of us were just talking about, like, we changed, campaign windows and lookbacks and all this. Plus you have all the opt-in versus opt-out. Plus you have all these changes and what's going on with cookies. So there's a lot happening in the marketer space right now that we need to react and digest and really understand what's driving it. I do think, whether it's multi-touch or not, attribution is very hard. And I think we still rely a lot on the age-old, how did you hear about us, right? And then can we triangulate what our platforms are telling us with what our customer is telling us? And we're fortunate, we have the largest bucket of new customers come from word of mouth, right? So if those continue to work and then that is your flywheel, I think you'll be in position to succeed. But we're at the starting line. I think all of us as marketers in this new world.
All right, James.
I would say we're definitely exploring, a combination of new partnerships, platforms, and channels. So we launched an SMS program last year. We're testing other new channels like gas station TV to drive retail traffic as just 2 examples. And I think sort of as we're thinking about the future, one of the areas of focus is really leveraging partners that have large first-party data pools. And then I would say also sort of how we're combating this is the team. One of the unique things about our team is that the media team is very nimble and that they're able to make intra-campaign event changes. So as an example, if we see costs on display increasing, the team can easily shift those dollars to social, as an example.
Rebecca.
Yeah, my easy answer to your question is yes, yes, yes. We're seeing efficiencies start to take a hit for sure, especially in platforms like Facebook and Google due to the iOS changes. Still though in the camp of, Aaron, kind of wait and see. It's a little too early to start being a little too reactive on how the landscape is going to evolve for the long term. But we're definitely, working through first party data, like James said, and making sure that we have something to complement what we already know about our customer and doing more kind of mid-funnel activations, as I mentioned, with customer cloning and stuff like that with our first party data to be able to combat some of the things that we're seeing in the market today. But definitely efficiency is definitely taking a hit. It's not off a cliff just yet, but we immediately saw that our CPAs not significantly, but enough. Give it a pause, but.
All right, to finish up, Shreya.
Yeah, I would agree with what Rebecca said. We are seeing the hit as soon as the update was done on the 26th. We saw a hit on Facebook performance and GDN. So we are seeing the same, we're experiencing the same. That's why for us, it's become even more important to make sure we are data ready in terms of our first party data. As of last week, we have uploaded all of our, so we identified, like, we have identified so many first party data that's key to us, but then we need to work with a creative team to figure out, like, we have this customer data now, we know this is the audience segment that has the highest lifetime value, this is the audience segment that purchased our most expensive product. So what's the best creative that we should be serving? Like, we still need to connect the dots, but that's how we're trying to, like, prepare ourselves to make sure. I mean, it's only been 3 weeks. We are seeing, like, we don't know how much of an impact it is because of the update versus the other external factors. Costs have definitely gone up. We're trying to see, like, should we be pushing more towards prospecting because retargeting is taking a hit? But then the whole idea of prospecting is to fill that pool so we can start retargeting the customers. So it's like, yeah, it's a catch-22. We don't know, like, how exactly to. So I think we are in the same boat as everyone else. It's a test and try. We're also trying, we have on the roadmap, we have some testing strategies to see what's the best ideal look back window. How does performance change if we were to change the look back window from 7 day to 1 day? So that's another thing that we have in the pipeline. So yeah, we are testing, we're just watching, monitoring, and, like, trying to learn as we go.
Well, it's a time of a lot of change. So thanks everybody. And I think we go to questions now. Is that what's next? I can't hear him.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, thank you guys. I was just talking to myself.
There.
Thank you. You definitely packed a lot of insights in 20, 25 minutes. I was on mute, sort of, obviously. There is one question that I think kind of relates with an earlier session as well. There was a statistic that I think Mark from Newstar mentioned earlier, that I believe 80% of the time of a data scientist goes into things that have to do with, like, just cleaning the data. And I think you talked a lot about cleaning data, you talk about integrating data, you talk about analyzing data. I would just like to see, like, if you think about, how you and your team, your data scientists, are, like, allocate their time right now, how much of that time goes into each one of these kind of stages of, like, just getting the data ready, integrating the data, and then just having this juicy set of data and just analyzing the data?
I'll go first because it's a short answer. We're hiring our head of data science, our first data scientist, on Monday. He starts on Monday. So we'll get there.
So I'll ask you in a few months.
That's right.
I can answer it on my side. On the third left side, we put kind of like our time allocation into 3 buckets on the data side. So there's strategy, which is a lot about, like, ensuring that the cleanliness and the integrity of the data is sound and what we actually want to learn, both in the short term and the long term. And then there's training, right? Because you have a full team, so you have some level of training and getting people kind of upskilled and up to speed on their own kind of career development. And then you have other, which is kind of like these ad hoc requests. That's like, can you look at this really quickly or look at that really quickly? And I think the optimal kind of time allocation for us is 40, 30, 20. 40, 30, 30. Sorry, that equals 100. So 40% of the time they're spending time on strategy, both and long-term thinking, 30% of the time on training and upskilling themselves, whether it be modeling or, whatever else that we need them to do. And then, obviously 30% of the time, making sure that they are addressing ad hoc requests from an organizational perspective across all functions.
Right.
Yeah, I would just add sort of bifurcate responsibilities as well on our end. So we have a data engineering team who is primarily responsible for getting that data clean and accessible, so that the data scientists are truly just focused on building models and providing those insights.
Yeah, very similar to what James said. We have a separate team, the back office IT team, that handles all data and makes sure the data is available to us when we ask for. But it falls on the marketing and analytics team for us to define what data we need to look at, and that it is the most clean data that we can work off of. But yeah, we don't have like a data science team per se, but it's mostly analysts and advanced analytics team, like different. We don't have like a set team, but yeah, we do have it in different departments who do the analysis, from a supply chain to digital marketing. But we don't have it divided like how Rebecca's team has. all figure out. We are yet to figure this part out.
Great. Jeremy, any parting thoughts from you? But thanks for the moderation, the really great insights across the board.
Yeah, I would just say, this is, I think we got a lot out of 20 minutes. Thank you so much for sharing. Data has been talked about forever, and it continues to be a challenge for everybody. Now we've got all these big changes. I think it's going to be important for all marketers to really take especially the third-party cookie piece very seriously as soon as possible, because we really are going to see a degradation of the retargeting, especially, and all these other things very quickly. And the app piece of it is just sort of the beginning, the edge of that. So that's where we're trying to help our marketers understand that a lot better.
Great. Well, thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, team. And with that, it looks like we have come to the end of our agenda for the day.